Now what do we do?
Yeah.
I'm going to pick a fight.
Say it again, y'all.
Of course you realize this means war.
Well, we didn't get dressed up for nothing.
Hello, welcome to Steelers Sanctuary War Room with Bob and Trent. We're got a really big package of video today, so we're efforting trying to get it to play. It's not playing well with StreamYard, but that being said, we're going to try to play it remotely. Hopefully, we can. It'll show up and look good and all that good stuff. But Trent's got some injury news for the Texans. Trent, bring us up to speed. Who's playing? Who's not playing?
Yeah, this is pretty, for the most part, outside of the guys who've already been on injured reserve, there's not a lot to talk about. Both teams are relatively healthy. Jahar Johnson is the backup running back for Houston. He's about the only guy who is not playing. There's also a backup cornerback that looks like he's not going to be activated off of IR for this week. From the Pittsburgh side, Isaiah Loudermilk's window for a designation for return from IR was opened up this week. He also doesn't seem to be ready to go for this game. So defensive line depth-wise, that seems to be something that maybe we're not exactly going to be adding to this one. If there's a game, though, that you don't need defensive line depth, it's a Houston offense that can't really run the ball very effectively. So not the worst thing in the world. We've also had some nice contributions. The guy, I feel so bad. I butcher the dude's name every time, but Automeu, number 93. Everybody knows him as 93. So like he's played pretty well for us as a backup defensive lineman. Of course, Y.A. Black's still in there in that mix of the rotation. So we still have some guys that we can go. And then Cam Hayward is still playing a ton of snaps. Benton's playing a ton of snaps, and I think we've seen throughout the year as Harmon's gotten up to speed, he's still playing a ton of snaps. So we're not a team that really is rotating guys anyway. So I think that's something that you can live with a guy like Loudermilk not coming back in a game like this. Now, if we were playing Baltimore this week, it'd be nice to have another big body to add to the mix, but Houston is not Baltimore in the way that they approach their offense. So I think we're going to be okay there.
Yeah, I know we're going to get into this in the film, but the more I watched putting it together, and we'll get into the play action, man, the Steelers cannot bite on play action. You have got to be able to play straight up in the box and just R7 against their 5 and the run game and shut that down in our base defense. And I mean, if I'm TJ, if I'm Herbig, if I'm Alex, and I'm coming off the edge, I am not even remotely. We got on him a lot last year in the Ravens game for tackling Lamar and letting Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry ain't playing for the Texans, okay? No. And but that means that it's going to be crucial that Derek Harmon, Y.A. Black, Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, they got to have a big game. They got to have an absolutely big game. And, from Magic's point, this offense is not what it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, they were pretty effective. I forget who the running back was 2 years ago. I want to say it was one of those guys who's kind of had just a flash in the pan, a couple of good years, and then has kind of been relegated to a backup. I can look it up real quick and remember. I don't know if you remember who that is, Trent.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about it was Houston's not playing the same defense. I mean, I think it's safe to say, they carved us up. C.J. Stroud had a great game that game also. That was his rookie season where he really came out of the gates extremely hot, kind of lit the world on fire a little bit. Mm-hmm. And C.J.'s still been an effective quarterback this year. But at the same time, our defense isn't the same. We had a pretty bad secondary. That was just an older, slower version of our secondary where, guys like James Pierre is playing much better now. Joey Porter Jr. is definitely playing a lot better than what he was at that point. Our safety plays better than it was at that point, even though Minkah Fitzpatrick was here. But we played Minkah so far off the ball and we positioned him completely out of place most of the time. Let's be honest. So I think that we're running a different scheme. I saw a stat. We were the 7th rated defense as far as disguising coverages in the NFL, which we weren't doing that then either. We were very vanilla as a defense. We ran. Everybody was talking about. We knew exactly what we were doing. Now it's a little bit different. So I think if you're looking from 2 years ago to today,
you're a little muffled, Trent. There you go.
Am I?
Yeah.
Sorry. So when I was looking back from 2 years ago to today, I thought about going back to that game, and I was like, you know what? This is a totally different team. I mean, our secondary is totally different. Our run games improved this year, totally different. So I didn't even go through that film because I feel like there's such a stark contrast between that team 2 years ago, both sides, Texans and Pittsburgh, to today, that I didn't even include it.
I also think that we made some monumentally big mistakes. We tried to run Najee up the middle, and he got tagged a couple of times early in that game, and you could just tell it wasn't as bad as the San Francisco game where when Fred Warner just beat the shit out of Najee on the first play, and you just knew, it took a couple of plays, but he was similarly ineffective. And again, we'll get into this here when we get into the tape, but I feel like this offense is totally different. I feel like the defense is totally different. They don't have Bobby Slowick over there. They do have a Rams guy, a Sean McVay disciple who's pretty good on that side of the ball, but they just don't have the horses up front. They don't have the offensive line. This has got to be a huge game for the defense, in my opinion. It's got to be a legacy game for a lot of these guys.
I agree with you, and Magic's putting out here that PQ needs to have a monster game because he's a cut candidate. I don't think that theory is too far-fetched. Contract-wise, he's not exactly got a ton of guarantees going into next season, so I don't think that's necessarily far-fetched, but I will say this. Patrick Queen, I think, has been showing up in big game-type situations, and I expect him to really be something that we're going to need coverage-wise as well because of the way that the Texans operate. They do utilize a lot of the middle of the field. That is something that Patrick Queen has struggled with in the past. He's not a great coverage linebacker. For all of his speed, he really is not a great coverage guy. So you're right. We definitely need PQ. I saw somebody saying CJ Stroud isn't Lamar either. You're absolutely right about that, unless you're Rex Ryan, apparently. Bob brought that up quite a few times this week.
I still don't get what the all of a sudden attraction of CJ Stroud as a runner is. I didn't feel he was that in college. Look, he's not Matthew Stafford back there. He will take off and hurt you, but that's not his game. It's not like he's going to RPO you to death.
Right.
And frankly, if he does, I think he's going to take a big shot, and that'll be it. And we're looking at Davis Mills.
Maybe. CJ, even when he does scramble, he's not looking to run. He's just trying to extend plays, and he's still looking to throw. That's kind of been his thing. Even when he was in college, he didn't really run. I mean, like, there was actually a big knock on that because, people were – when CJ kind of came in, people were used to the RPO offense from Urban Meyer. And then CJ gets there, and, like, he is not a runner. So people were getting frustrated when they were running RPO stuff. He was looking to sit back and pass. And he's like, I remember his quote back then. He's like, hey, I came here to play quarterback. I didn't come here to play running back. I'm throwing the ball. I have guys that are, weapons out in this Ohio State offense. I'm going to get them the ball. I'm not the weapon with the ball in my hand running downfield. So, he's got that same mentality here in Houston. And he's not looking to run. He will extend plays. And to be fair, that offensive line hasn't done him a ton of favors. He's kind of had to scramble sometimes to create plays. And that's something that we're definitely going to have to focus on, I think, as a defense, because that's going to be part of a key to the game here is that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we want to talk about our player highlight here, who is going to be. By the way, I looked this up because it was one of our preseason predictions for the Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson actually led the team in tackles at 126, but Queen was right behind him at 120. I think they they both had problems this year, but they both
Yeah.
had a lot of really good moments. In the second half of the season, they've been mostly good versus the first half of the season where it was mostly bad.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because Peyton Wilson doesn't get nearly as many snaps as Patrick Queen does. So it's kind of crazy that he's actually leading the team in tackles when he's constantly going substitutions between he and Malik Harrison. So I know he played a lot in the early part of the season, but as the years gone on, they've definitely been more rotational and situational based with him.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at Peyton Wilson and see why he's going to be so important in this game.
I do think Peyton Wilson can be extremely important in this game. So here on the Packers are in a 3-by-1 set. They are going to have Kraft kind of coming across the field down here. So if we get back into that play, this is something that I just think is very interesting with the way that Peyton Wilson operates. So he's going to be the linebacker who is in the bottom side of the screen on the first look or on the right side of the screen in the second look. Kraft kind of came down in motion down to be on the end line there. And you can see they're going to drop back. Kraft is going to try to sneak across the middle of the field here. Now, this isn't where the ball goes, but watch Peyton Wilson. He and Patrick Queen both bite on the play action fake. And this is something that's important for, I think, what the Houston Texans do. It's they do this same type of a look. Kraft is an athletic tight end. You'll see him come across, and Peyton Wilson does catch up. But I think this is something that Peyton Wilson, as good as he is in coverage at times, his eyes get too bought up into the action in the backfield, and a guy can slip past him just like we saw here with Kraft. Because if Jordan Love didn't want to take the deep shot, Kraft was actually open underneath initially, and then Peyton Wilson does kind of catch up with his athleticism. Like you can see him diagnose. Kraft is already behind him a little bit. This would have been a really tight window throw, but here in about a step or two, you'll see Kraft kind of come open right there. Jordan could have delivered that ball behind Peyton Wilson if he wanted to. Now, he'd already obviously made his mind up. He's in the motion to go downfield here. But Peyton Wilson does sometimes rely a little too much on his speed, which is absolutely the best thing about his game. And he is a pretty solid coverage linebacker at times. But this is why when I looked at his advanced statistics, quarterbacks have a 91.1% completion percentage throwing at Peyton Wilson, which is atrocious. Atrocious for a guy who, if you remember, Bob, in camp called himself the best coverage linebacker in the league.
Yeah.
That's not a good statistic to have. And it's plays like that, I think, is that it's that late diagnosis on a play where he bites too hard on the play action, especially when he was the backside guy. That play was going away from him.
Mm-hmm.
So, Patrick Queen, that's his responsibility in that case. You have to understand when Kraft is crossing your Patrick Queen's face and coming behind you, you have to pick that guy up. It's obviously a passing situation. He just didn't diagnose it in that play. Yep. So this is more late in the first half. You'll see Peyton Wilson. He's again the inside linebacker on the bottom of the screen. He starts showing blitz down there next to TJ Watt. And then you'll see they kind of make an adjustment here from both sides. TJ slides inside. He's going to slide on the outside. Watch how effortlessly he runs. This is Kraft again. Kraft is an athletic tight end. I picked Kraft because his athletic profile, I think, is very, very similar to Dalton Schultz. Peyton Wilson does not even accelerate to keep up with Kraft in this route. And I know this is just kind of a little flare route by Kraft out to the outside. He's looking to chip and then get to the outside. But it just shows why Peyton Wilson, I think, in this game is going to be important because I want to see him matched up more on Dalton Schultz. I think his coverage skills are going to be impactful. I mean, he's not even accelerating here. Kraft is trying to get outside, and Wilson's not even remotely accelerating at this point. And that's a problem for a tight end. If a linebacker can cover you the way that he can, with the size that Peyton Wilson has, Peyton does have some length to him too. I mean, we talk about our corners having length, and I know we used Deshaun Elliott to cover tight ends, and Deshaun Elliott covered Kraft a good bit in this tape. It took me a good while to actually find some coverages from Peyton Wilson on this. But I just think that's going to be a big, big key. Now, this game here, this one's actually going to be the Colts game. And again, Tyler Warren, another very athletic tight end.
This is another Packers play.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the last Packers play. So this is the one. Again, this is when he came across in motion. Yes, I'm sorry. So again, He's going to flare out. Now, this play was another play where, I mean, Peyton Wilson effortlessly keeps up with him. They get the ball to Kraft. This thing was supposed to go out and give him room to work in space. Again, you'll see Kraft kind of come across the formation in motion right here. Peyton Wilson flexes out. You can see he's in man coverage right here. They're just trying to get this thing out and get him in space. But Peyton Wilson's so fast he gets out there. This is a 2-yard gain. That should, most linebackers, that's going to go for a lot more. Now we're in the Colts game.
Yeah, that's set up for, like, if that's that little play they like to get to Jonnu and Pat and just let them, hey, catch it at 2 and run for 6.
Yes.
You know, and there's so much to like about Peyton Wilson, and it's so frustrating to watch when he kind of disappears sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I really think, like, with this game, you know, if the defensive line just does their job, and I think they will, they've played very well the last 2 months of the season. Man, if he's running clean and just, you know, floating out to Schultz and, you know, or, you know, is picking up the running backs out of the backfield on those little angle routes, I won't guarantee he's going to get a pick, but I feel like he could have a couple pass breakups that are key.
For sure. And so, like, in the Colts game, Tyler Warren is the guy that I focused on because another athletic profile. He's actually more athletic than what Dalton Schultz is. Watch how easily Peyton Wilson carries him up the field here. So he's the inside guy, and you can see him at the 40-yard line just running stride for stride. Now, we had safety over top help, and, of course, they're going to check this thing down on this play on a quick little out route, which, by the way, Joey Porter Jr. does a great job of picking up the out route and making a tackle. But Peyton Wilson, the way he's able to kind of carry up the field, Peyton's on the other hash. Now, you see him shift with the motion. So Peyton comes in and picks up Warren. Again, he just effortlessly strides, and he's not even accelerating, carrying a tight end up the field who's, I mean, let's be honest, Warren might be one of the most athletic tight ends in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And he's not even remotely close to capturing top speed against a guy like this. So this is why, like, I think he might be an X factor defensively in this game against Dalton Schultz. So
just interject real quick too. I also think when you look at a guy like Warren, who, like you said, is insanely athletic, this was the Daniel Jones version of Warren, who was insanely productive the first half of the season. And this was kind of the point of demarcation where Tyler Warren went from dominant to kind of an afterthought the rest of the season. Now, he still had a good rookie year, but Colston Loveland ended up, obviously he's in the playoffs and he's playing pretty well. So right now the Loveland may look like the better of the two. I still think Warren's a little bit better, but they're definitely 1-1A type of players. But yeah, this is where, as good as he did against Warren and Kraft, if he plays like this against Schultz, he takes away CJ Stroud's little quick, okay, I got to get rid of it guy. And I just feel, and I also feel like this might force CJ Stroud, Rex Ryan, you're going to get what you fucking wish for here, buddy. If he flushes out or he rolls out, he's rolling into TJ Watt, he's rolling into Nick Herbig, he's rolling into Alex Heisman. They have got to make him pay. They've got to make him pay when he does that.
Absolutely. So here's a play where the Colts are going to bring a man in motion. They're going to try to get a read on the defense and see that we're in a man coverage right here.
Oops. Went a little fast there.
Yep. So they're bringing the man in motion here. This is a whole different play. So that was the second play. So the first one must have got cut off. That's okay. On the first play, they tried to run a little running back angle route. Peyton Wilson had no trouble covering that thing up, gets a PBU. Now on this one here, this was the 11 personnel look. They had twins at the top of the screen. Wilson's actually locked up with the running back out of the backfield on this play. So you can see him lined up directly over top of that running back. He's coming outside, sees the guy. There's a little angle route, a little option route, by Josh Downs. Peyton Wilson just reads and diagnoses based on Daniel Jones' eyes, steps right in front of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't over pursue on this one. This is where the good version of Peyton Wilson absolutely can show up.
Let's see if we get get back on track. This was
is
a big video. We kind of made a mistake trying to render. This is the Vikings game.
the Vikings. They came out in an empty set. Peyton Wilson was one-on-one with TJ Hawkinson. So TJ actually ends up he's on the left side of your screen on this one right here. And Peyton Wilson's going to end up being one-on-one with him in this situation. And you see Peyton Wilson working his way over. TJ is going to work out on a little out route. He's going to sell inside and then try to break this thing out. Again, the speed. Hawkinson's another athletic profile tight end similar to Schultz. There was no way he's breaking free of Peyton Wilson on that play. Now the play goes to the other side, but I'm just trying to highlight how the speed of Peyton Wilson is a difference maker against these tight ends. And with Dalton Schultz being the second leading receiver for Houston, and he's honestly a security blanket for CJ Stroud in most ways, the way that he operates, I just think that if Peyton Wilson can stay in coverage and man more frequently in this game, I think it's going to bode well for the Pittsburgh defense because it's going to shut down a lot of what Houston likes to do offensively. So again, he just covers, and there's nowhere for him to go with that ball. There's just nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So on this, go ahead, Bob.
No, I was going to say he doesn't even, I think he glances. Wentz doesn't come off his first read very well anymore, but I think he kind of glanced and saw that, and Hawkinson's when he's healthy, he's a top 10-ish tight end too. Great route runner. I mean, it's kind of lost in Minnesota, the last year or so with the quarterback play. And Sam Darnold never really got comfortable with Hawkinson. I think he's been kind of hurt a lot the last 2 years. Yeah.
So this is a look where they're going to motion the back to the backfield. Now Hawkinson is down on the bottom of the screen, and you got Peyton Wilson, who ends up being a zone coverage, but Peyton Wilson's over top of him down at the bottom of the screen. It's just look how much more athletic, again, Peyton Wilson is than a TJ Hawkinson, who is athletic. I mean, he even turns around at one point right with him. His athleticism is just so much more advanced than any of these tight ends, and that's just something you don't see from the linebackers very often. You talk about linebackers having trouble covering tight ends, and it's something that a lot of teams just cannot find a guy who can stay with them. Peyton Wilson is that guy, and it's something we don't utilize enough at times. But in this game, and the way that I think you see Houston utilizing Schultz, we absolutely need something like that, is using Peyton Wilson against Schultz and kind of take away that security blanket for CJ Stroud.
Yeah, and I think because of the way Peyton Wilson came up and lined up over the top of him and it started to look like man, and when Wentz is audibling out of that play or checking out of that play, I think he was checking away from Hawkinson. I think that play was probably originally designed to go to Hawkinson, and he's like, no, he's got him.
Yeah.
And then, Carson Wentz went Carson Wentz and threw a bad throw to the other side of the field.
Yeah, for sure. We needed that every time that game, too.
Yes.
And hopefully we're going to get a couple of those against CJ Stroud. All right, so let's get into the Steelers offense. Now, before we start the video, I'm going to be honest with you. This one was probably the most difficult for me to do because this Texans defense is freaking ridiculous. They don't have a lot of weak areas. It's going to be very difficult. And the moral of the story of what I came out with, and we'll highlight through the videos as we go, but I think we need to stay in 11 personnel, get out of the jumbo package, and then we need to play with tempo for sure. So the two interior defensive linemen play a lot because they've only got 3 guys healthy. In pass rushing situations, they'll bring Autry inside to be a pass rush guy because he is a bigger edge player. But I think that if we have success, not even scoring success, just success moving the ball against the Texans defense, you can go tempo and you can start to wear down these interior guys because they only have 3 healthy on the roster right now. And if you wear them down, that is one of the weaknesses that you're going to find throughout this game is Tommy Togiai is a little undersized. He plays with great strength. Sheldon Rankins, he's an older guy, but my God, he still plays at a pretty effective level. But if you can wear on those guys and get them breathing heavy, that's how we're going to open the run game because they have not allowed a 100-yard rusher at all this season. Hell, they've only had 6 games where a team has had over 100 yards rushing so far this season. That's a pretty scary statistic for a Pittsburgh Steelers team that likes to run the ball and establish some effective running, it's going to be a game we have to throw to open up the run. So we're going to go with the Texans-Colts game. This is a 3-by-1 set for the Colts. Texans are in their nickel defense. Alec Pierce runs a little out and up with Michael Pittman underneath. Now, this is the key. You have to have two guys deep. Now, Pittman being the primary receiver, you can see both Texans defenders actually end up jumping on the underneath route, leaving Alec Pierce to just streak downfield wide open. Now, this is the thing the Pittsburgh Steelers don't always do, but we have been doing a little bit more late, especially late in the game against Baltimore. We started stretching the field with our routes instead of running all of these underneath routes for quick throws. I know that the pass rush is ridiculous for the Texans, but I don't want to see all of these things to be all underneath routes. You've got to be a little bit ballsy here and give your tackles a little faith. Because look, if the Colts, who don't have a great offensive line this year, can hold up the way that they did, why can't we? Right? Just enough for that tick to get Leonard open to throw downfield. That's some of the things we need to do we need to stretch out this Texans defense. All of the plays where they were successful. And on that last play, by the way, there was a Will Anderson. Can you rewind back for 1 second? Because I wanted to highlight Will Anderson on that play too, because I think that's something we could see as a little wrinkle right here. Will Anderson is actually in the middle of the field over top of the center in a standing up position instead of his normal edge. Watch him loop around on this. This is something that I think Falatana needs to watch out for. See, he starts up and then loops around, and the tackle never really picks him up. Mm-hmm. Now, if Alec Pierce doesn't break open there, Leonard's getting killed. I mean, he needed a tick longer, and Leonard is getting killed. However, the play worked, and it ends up being a touchdown. That is how
almost dropped that ball too.
He did almost drop that. That's the thing about the Texans. They're so good that when you have your opportunities, you have to hit the opportunities. Because I'm telling you right now, as I was watching multiple games of film, it was always a 1 second difference between a play being successful or not being successful over and over and over against this defense. That happens a lot in the NFL, but this defense is so good at what they do. You don't have to guess. You know what they're doing. They're man up most of the time. Mm-hmm. They're still solid in zone, and their pass rush is ridiculous. But if you can hold long enough, they can give up a big play. And we see it right here Riley Leonard is a backup quarterback in this league. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But it's a big shot.
He didn't throw the ball that well at Notre Dame.
No, not at all.
Look, here's the thing, and Vaughn's bringing up that they're going to go conservative. Well, number one, if Wildcard Weekend has shown us anything, is it's not over if you go down 10-0, 17-0, 21-3. Things can happen if you just maintain. But I just got to believe that Aaron Rodgers is not going to go stand out there and hand the ball to Gainwell and Warren and get down 14, 17, nothing. Now, there's no guarantee that if he takes shots down the field, we're going to complete them. But I said this on the podcast on Friday. DK Metcalf in the playoffs, I've said all along, I think he's the best number 2 wide receiver in the league, but we're paying him like a number 1. In the playoffs, he shows up. He shows up. In his games in Seattle, he was not the reason they lost those games. And I think Aaron Rodgers is a hell of a lot better than Russell Wilson, even the 5 years ago Russell Wilson. He could really, really, really make a big difference. And I know we kind of laughed about it in chat last night because Darius Stingley might be the best corner in the league. If he's not, he's definitely in the top 3. He's
definitely in the conversation for sure.
But absolutely. DK is still physically bigger.
Oh, for sure.
He's not a great contested catch guy, but but if you hit him on that slant coming across, I don't think Stingley can tackle him one-on-one. I think he can cover him one-on-one, but I don't think he can tackle him. If you can get that ball to him in space or maybe one shot down the sidelines where he gets a step on him, it only takes 2 or 3 big plays from DK, and this totally changes the game. Because then the Texans have got to double DK all day long.
Well, the other thing is Stingley likes to be aggressive at the line of scrimmage, and no one jams DK Metcalf at the line of scrimmage. He's too big. He's too strong. He's going to get off the line. And that takes a little bit away from what Stingley likes to do. Is he likes to throw the timing of the routes off, and that's why teams don't throw at him very often. Is he's not allowing receivers to get in phase. But DK Metcalf is not going to have that issue with him. It's just a matter of gathering separation from Stingley, which will be the battle between those two guys. Does DK Metcalf get separation? Does Arthur Smith design plays to give some separation and get Stingley off of his hip to create plays for DK Metcalf? Because I don't feel like we should have to make DK work for everything in this game. We should be looking to use our best freaking weapon in this game and get him the hell off of Derek Stingley. Run some mesh concept. Run some, guys where you have double crossers and make these defenders start to make decisions. And I think I talked about this, I think in the text with you guys last night, is the vanilla offense cannot happen here. This defense is so good at what they do that if you're just going to run a plain vanilla offense, they're going to eat us alive. You have to design plays to get these guys to make decisions in space of who's picking up this person, who's going to get this guy if they run a crosser. If you run some bunch sets, like who's taking what guy. We just watched our defense fall apart against Baltimore down the stretch for the same things because communication didn't work. Even though the Texans are great at what they do, these miscommunication things happen when you create situations where guys have to make decisions and they have to react very quickly in a moment. We have to do the same things.
And Vaughn, don't worry, we dispatched Corab to the game. He's going to be at the game, and he will bring a garden hose with him, and he will make sure to hose down that field early and often, and then let the temperature take over and make it an icy field. So they're slipping and sliding all over the place.
All right. So the next play here, this is a play that we need to stay the hell away from. The Colts are going to try to get this thing to stretch out to the outside here a little bit. This defense is too fast for that. Trying to go first of all, the edges are both really good run defenders. It's very hard to get outside of these guys, and even if you do, guys like Kamari Lassiter are freaking phenomenal tacklers at the cornerback position. This is something that we've been missing as a whole. I just think that's probably we don't need to be doing that. The stretch plays, they don't work for us in particular anyway. I don't want to see anything stretching. That was kind of attempting to run off tackle, but you can't run anything slow developing. So this is another one. The Colts are in an offset eye with Warren coming back to be the fullback on the play. It's play action after another long drawn-out play. They try to dump it off short to the tight end. Now, we do this quite a bit. There they jump it off, and just watch the Texans rally to the ball. Nowhere to go. This is a 2-yard gain, 1-yard gain, whatever. I mean, these long drawn-out plays don't work against this defense. You can't do this stuff.
I mean, you see it's great in concept in as far as, okay, we've got him frozen just a little bit, but here, that's the guy. Pierce, that's the guy you got to hit.
Yeah, sorry, I had to sneeze there. But
yeah,
I mean, but rewind back just slightly on that, because watch the linebackers. They don't flow with the play action because you haven't established the run. At this point in the game, the Colts had no run going for them. And even this is Jonathan Taylor. For Christ's sake, if you're going to follow a play action, you think a guy like Jonathan Taylor, you're going to bite on play action, watch the linebackers. They don't move. They're going to come in motion. Watch. Both linebackers on the backside. Play action. No one moved. No one. They both diagnose this thing as a play action fake. They don't go after Jonathan Taylor. And this is why they're so good at rallying to the ball. I mean, even the edge on the backside who was getting blocked, and he recognizes the tight end slipping out. Look at this. There's 4 guys chasing this play. This is why they're so good. They rally to the ball so well because they all play in phase at all times, and no one's getting out of position. No one's over pursuing.
Which is why I think if Arthur Smith is in his bag, because we've seen these plays where he missed Jonnu, but he hit Darnell on a few of these early in games where they get everybody flowing and you think it's that little tight end out. And then usually he sneaks a tight end down the field, so it could be a pat play. But, man, if he hits DK coming across like that and just stops, because there's no way Shair and the linebackers, they're great. They're fast. There's no way with the way they're flowing towards that play that they can stop and get back to that route that's wide open in the middle. If Aaron hits that could be a cheap 50, 40, 60-yard touchdown. And we're going to need one of those in this game.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need some big plays for sure. So, like, these little check down, dump off things, this is why I feel like I know we've been doing this and people don't think we're going to be aggressive, but we got to get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So this play is going to be against the Chargers. Texans, definitely a man-heavy team. You're going to see it on this one. Petrie is a safety. He's going to come down in the box. He plays in the box quite a lot. He gets matched up against Keenan Allen. Now, Keenan runs a little, like, fake like he's going out and then runs a quick slant back inside and beats Petrie. Now, here's one of those things I was talking about, Bob. It's inches, it's seconds. This ends up being an incompletion.
Right.
But the play is there. And this is what the Texans do. They swallow you up and then make routine things not so routine and make mistakes. Herbert gets this ball just in time. Keenan Allen's a great route runner, even at his age. Just out in front, and they don't complete this thing. But this is a 10-yard gain. And against this defense, you need every one of these plays to go and be successful. You can't have drops. You can't have the ball thrown just a little too far outside of the reach. This team, this is what they do, though. They pressure you and force you into mistakes. Whether you want to put this on Herbert or Allen, it doesn't really matter. The end result is it's an incomplete pass instead of a completion. Should have been a nice little game. But I think that route, I like the route concept that they ran there. And if there's a way we can find a way to get DK isolated on that one, that'd be great. I think that's a route that maybe a guy like Calvin Austin could try to win on that. Or, honestly, even Jonnu Smith. I know we don't really throw him the ball, but he's a big physical guy that would be able to get off of a safety.
You know, and going back to that other play with Pierce when he went for the touchdown, man, if you run DK and Valdez-Scantling on that side, you know they're going with DK. And if DK runs that little stop, I mean, Scantling could run right by him. So, you know, let's hope, you know, the Mike Tomlin conservative thing, and of course Magic is, you know, thinking Mike Tomlin is the GOAT. So there's probably somewhere in between here. Yeah. That being said, you know, they have got to. There's going to be some opportunities early, and if you can get out to where we're the ones up 10-0, 14-0, 17-0, their offense is not built to come from behind. They can hit big plays. They can absolutely hit big plays, but if you just pin the ears back and say, "Fuck you, we're coming," I really like our chances.
Vaughn's got no faith. All right, so. Let me isolate a play where I think we can get some of our stuff. Obviously, we love using the running backs, right? Watch how the Chargers, look how far they're spaced out on this. So they space this defense out really, really far. They bring a guy in motion. And this is a situation where you can see them. They're in a zone, but they're trying to kind of do like a little matchup zone on the bottom side of the screen. Marion Hampton gets a chip. So, again, these edge rushers are great, right? Get a little chip. Just flare out to make yourself available. Now, if this is Jaylen Warren, and you got the ball right here, oh, my God. This is big play waiting to happen, right? And Marion Hampton is an athletic guy, but he's a rookie. And he makes a lot out of this play as well because, look, he's going to get outside. The receivers, the problem with man is they're still running downfield. They have no clue this ball's already thrown underneath. Hampton breaks this thing outside, gets a nice little gain. This is exactly where we can start hit to some of these, like, running back type plays because in man coverage, if you're running downfield, again, this is going to be the big key. Get the goddamn receivers all downfield. Do not run all 8-yard routes and turn around and stop, do hitches and curls and freaking ends. Like, you've got to get some stretch plays down here because this is why you can open up the running backs this way. And the linebackers, one of the things that they do, they're not great coverage guys. I think, I forget how he's 202. He's like he's like a 62 grade in coverage. Al-Shair is like a 58, 56 in coverage according to PFF. I know, like, we're not huge PFF guys, but for the people who like PFF, they're not great coverage guys, okay? They're one's average, the other's below average. That's where you attack. You attack this defense through those middle linebackers, And if you're getting the receivers downfield and dragging these great corners and safeties out of the play, that's where you can dump the ball to guys like Kenneth Gainwell, who's been tremendous out of the backfield for us. You can dump the ball to Jaylen Warren in this play to where he can actually work in space, because the dude breaks a shit ton of tackles, and he's not running out of bounds on this play like what Marion Hampton did. Let's be honest. Jaylen Warren's looking for contact. He's trying to break this thing back towards the inside part of the field between the receivers, and he's going to try to score. He's not going out of bounds.
Because right here when he catches this ball, he's probably going to try to beat that. I can't tell if that's the edge or a linebacker.
I think it was the linebacker, because the edge is the guy he chipped on this. I think it was one of the linebackers dropping the elf on him.
Right, and he's going to run away from the edge here. I mean, Will Anderson maybe has a chance. Danielle Hunter, great up the field pass rusher, but if Danielle Hunter is chasing Jaylen Warren, I like that all the time. But here's where your point right here.
He's cutting.
Jaylen Warren is not angling that to the sideline here. He's cutting that right back up to go take that. It looks like a safety on one-on-one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And like, this is one of those things, and you start getting even just like getting physical with these safeties and these corners, start wearing on them a little bit as the game goes on too, because it's going to be a dogfight. This is not going to be a one hitter where you score quick and you're looking to get a 3-and-out on defense and then you get a one hitter. I mean, this is just the way that they are. They're such a great defense. You have to chip away at this thing. And here's the other angle of it. And you can see this was, I think, Will Anderson on this side that comes upfield. And I mean, Marion Hampton does a great job of getting this chip. Maybe it wasn't Will Anderson. I can't remember, honestly. I was looking at
that's Anderson on the other side.
Yeah. Petrie came in with blitz. Yep. That's who it was. Petrie came on the blitz. There you go. And then they just slip him right out there for a nice, easy completion. But right here, Jaylen Warren's probably winning that foot race, and he's cutting upfield. He's not going to the sidelines.
And he's probably putting his foot in the ground at the 30 and letting him run by and cutting it back to the middle.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a play. You want somebody like Jaylen Warren or even Kenneth Gainwell out in space, because they outrun this play, and they're going to try to punish these guys on the back end.
Yeah, and I think Gainwell would probably take that same angle, but he's faster, so he might get an extra 5 yards out of it.
Yes. So here's another play where they spread out this defense. Gadsden's in the bottom next to the line. He's the inside receiver on the top of the screen. Watch this play develop. So this is Al-Shaair, who's going to be matched up against him, and this is where I think the biggest weakness on this defense comes. So Shaair has safety help over the top. He's angled to force the guy, but Gadsden slips inside of him, wide open. I mean, this is as wide open gets in the NFL. Windows are always going to be tighter, but I'm sorry. That has to be a completion. And instead, Herbert forces an absolute missile at his tight end. That's a little high, bounces in the air, the Texans get an interception. That's the plays right there that I was talking about earlier. It's these moments. It's these split-second moments of a decision. And here's the other angle that you'll see. I mean, Herbert put some serious gas in the ball.
I don't muffled again, Trey.
At all. So again, here comes the edge rush. They win on the outside, but Herbert has time to throw the ball. Just throws an absolute missile at the tight end. Like, you need to put that much gas on the ball. Like, you still could complete that pass, taking a little bit off of it. It's a little high. Gadsden's a rookie. I know people are going to say that's catchable, but my God, when that thing's coming at you that hard right off of your break, that's a tough catch for anybody, even a receiving tight end like Gadsden. But my goodness, take a little off of this thing. It's not even a completion. That's a possible touchdown. So it's moments like that you can attack this defense, I think.
Yeah, you got to take your shot when you got it, because there's not going to be a lot of them, but there are going to be some.
Absolutely. So this is a play where the Texans are in a cover 4. I think this was a 3rd and long, if I'm not mistaken. Now, they don't run a lot of cover 4. So they hit Johnson on a little quick out route. So this was a play where you have to, again, when they're outside of their norm, this is an absolute need as a completion. Now, Johnson kind of became their number 1 receiver throughout the season. and utilize him to get on the weak side. The Finley will stay on the top side of the or on the same side of the field a lot of times. This play designed to go that way. Herbert looks that way. Johnson wins on his route. This was not familiar last year on the play, but you can see there are ways to move the ball against this defense. It's going to be difficult, but there are definitely ways because they get the corner going too far upfield and you didn't get the 6 time. This was a Gaskin play.
I think it's a little bit different.
Oh, this is the crosser underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is – yeah. I must have missed that on my notes. So this is the one where I was looking at Gaston, another play, Gaston. So that's my fault.
Yeah.
I was reading behind my notes. So this is – you can run it right from this angle right here. So Gaston, again, is at tight end. This is a Pat Fryermuth play right here. So this does not go to him, but he's the tight end at the left side of the screen right here. Again, you're going to get Al-Shaair on him. Now, I'm telling you, this is where you attack the field right here. Al-Shaair is the worst coverage guy on the field outside of a defensive lineman. So you're going to see this play start to open up. They're all coming. This was where Autry actually was on the inside. Gaston is coming straight up the field. He was open. He breaks open on this play right there. Look at him. Even if
that's probably a touchdown if he throws it there.
Yeah. You could have slipped this ball back behind the guys, but listen, it's moments in a game against that Texans defense that's going to make the entire difference. And I still believe that tempo is going to be a big factor in this. If you get a little bit of success early and you can move the ball early, even if you don't score, you start going tempo, you get these defensive linemen to wear down. And I think that's going to wear on them to where we can start to run the ball. They use their linebackers to fill a lot of times in the run game. But at the same time, if you start wearing these guys down and going a little bit of tempo, you have a little bit of success against this defense. You don't have to put up a shit ton of points to do this. You just have to make sure the tempo game, which we did start doing a little bit more with Aaron Rodgers down the stretch here in the last 2 games. That's where you're going to have to probably wear this defense down and get them to open up. It's going to open up some holes. That's where you can actually start to establish a run, and hopefully we see Jalen Warren have a nice day.
Yeah, and I think Magic is kind of piggybacking off my point earlier. Last year when Patrick Surtain was all-world. He was Defensive Player of the Year last year. But if you go back and watch the Denver game last year, when he was singled up with Pickens, who's a little bit different animal than DK, but when he was singled up with Pickens, it's not so much that he caught so many passes. Surtain couldn't cover him. He started drawing penalties left and right. So that's why I say they can maybe outsmart themselves by leaving Stingley one-on-one on an island too much early.
I think they will.
But I do think they will adjust. They're a damn good defense for a reason. If Derek Stingley starts getting beat like a drum, they will absolutely adjust.
Yeah.
I also wonder if they will go Belichick and say, you know what? We're going to double DK, and we're going to put I don't know who you consider our number 2, but put Stingley on our number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 receivers and just say, okay, beat us with your tight ends. I think that's Arthur Smith's dream scenario. Hey, beat us with your tight ends. I think if Darnell was in this game, I don't think it would be particularly close because he would create huge mismatches. And I love Jalen Peter. Hey, he's a guy I really loved coming out of the draft, and I am not surprised by his success in the NFL.
Yeah, he's a good player.
But him hitting Pat and hitting Jonnu, if he was hitting Darnell, I mean, he's a little bit undersized. There's a reason, he slipped down a little bit in the draft. He didn't go down too far, but he's a little bit undersized. I would love to see him try to tackle Darnell.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the defense need to do against the Texans? Let's look at this one here. You're going to see a reason why we highlighted Peyton Wilson coming up. So the Texans, they're going to come out in a 3-by-1 set. Schultz is flexed out in the slot on this play. They get a double crossing route across the middle of the field. You have 2 vertical stretches coming. This is not the first play.
I think this is the one you listed first.
It might be. No. This is a play. Yeah. Schultz just blocks. I mean, he does a nice little chip on that. Getting a nice little block off that play. This is the in-breaking route to Hutchinson. So they do attack the middle of the field quite a lot in this Texans offense. Hutchinson has been a pretty big. Actually, I was surprised. He actually is ahead of Noel in receptions. Noel's kind of come on a little bit stronger late in the season, but the biggest mistake against them on this is the Colts start to bring 6 on this play and they don't get home, which leaves this huge ocean in the middle of the field. And the Texans are just not afraid to throw in the middle of the field. I don't think we need to blitz a ton in this game. I don't want to see, if we are, don't bring more than 5, because this is why it's really hard to cover up. They have really underrated receivers on this. On this play, this is one where Higgins is actually isolated at the bottom with a Twins look down here. Higgins is a big play receiver. The Colts, you can see him in a zone coverage. Higgins can get downfield and be a problem for them. They also use the middle of the field again here. That's another play for Schultz, or I think Tate Stover maybe. I can't remember which one it was at this point.
Yeah, it looks like
that was Schultz.
Or that was Schultz, yeah.
Schultz. So they love using him in the middle of the field. He's their second leading receiver. This is the security blanket factor I'm talking about. So, like, you see some receivers, I pointed out Higgins on the other side of this. Now, this is where Schultz is effective. Getting back behind the linebackers. Right here, he turns, does a little in-breaking route inside the zone. CJ sees this wide open. The safety's trying to break down over top. I don't like running zone against this team. I want to match up man-to-man against them because, again, I pointed out Peyton Wilson. Schultz does not break open on this play if Peyton Wilson's in coverage.
And you look – one thing I want to point out is this is safety blanket. He's not even looking at the other side of the field.
No.
This play is going Schultz all the way. And like you said, Peyton Wilson's got him, but this number 20, if that's number 5 in Pittsburgh, that's got to be a pick. Because he stared him down.
Yep. It's a nice little 12-yard gain. That's the problem is they're so good at those little in-breaking routes. You saw it with Hutchinson on the first look there. They'll slip guys out in the flats at times, but they've always got people going downfield. That's part of their offensive philosophy on this one. So on this is the Chargers game. They motion Hutchins across the formation, and they completely collapse the defensive line at the top of the screen. So you're going to see this as at the top of the screen here. And they like to counter Marks back on the other side. So as they start to collapse down, watch Marks just kind of cut this thing back outside, and now he's one-on-one with the defensive back. So when they are effective running the ball, they like to run these little counter action plays where they get the running back trying to be out in space, one-on-one. He is more effective here. He's more of a shifty back. He's not a power back. I thought he was a pretty decent player actually coming out of USC, but he's not been really that effective since he's been in the NFL, partly because their offensive line is not great, but he's also not a powerful runner. So you're going to see him one-on-one. It's a nice little game. This is where their run game is effective, is when they get some of these type of motions. But again, it's the way they collapse down the offensive line or the defensive line here that really makes this thing effective. And you're going to see it again on the backside of this thing. And the receivers are willing blockers. So Hutchinson, we saw him catch that crossing route, but he's also a decent-sized receiver where he can block pretty well too, and they use him on these formations, just like this play right here. So you're going to see him kind of come up here and dig out the safety. That's Derwin James he's trying to push down inside. And that tells you that this wasn't bounced outside out of the vision by a running back. It was designed to bounce outside.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that they do that is actually – when they are effective running the ball, that's exactly what it looks like right there. So this one, they start in a trips look, and they bring the motion all the way across. Higgins runs a post route. No one picks him up on the backside. There's just no one back there. And this is the danger for this team is Higgins is not only just a big receiver, he's got a little speed to his game too. I loved him coming out. And the DB, I think that was our former Pittsburgh Steeler in coverage there.
Yeah.
Just got absolutely toasted.
Looks way too familiar in that game.
That is unfortunately exactly how he looked in the black and gold in man coverage, is he just gets toasted. I think he thought he had somebody over the top the way he reacted in this, but clearly that was not the case. Somebody had miscommunication on this play, but this is it. This is the Houston offense in a nutshell, is they can hit these big plays on you, and it can happen in the blink of an eye. And if they don't hit the big plays, that's when the offense kind of stalls out. They need these plays to really get themselves into a lot of confident scenarios. CJ can make every throw on the field. He's not been a perfect quarterback, but he's solid enough to run this offense the way that they like to run it. And that's just a big play waiting to happen for them. Easy pitch and catch, big play touchdown.
Yeah, you have to get pressure on him. If you let him stand back there and wait, because Houston's got Collins, Houston's got Higgins, Noel is a threat, Hutchinson is a threat. If you let those guys run, as good as our secondary has played, and they have played better, if you let those guys run loose for 3 seconds, we're giving up big plays like we did in Baltimore. We just are.
Yeah.
And look, and in fairness, any defense in the NFL would have problems covering these guys if he can stand back there and pat and hold. It's just like Aaron. The difference is these guys' weapon. These guys will go deep and get deep, and it's not just DK. It's not just occasionally Calvin Austin. All 4 of these guys can take it to the house if they get down the field.
Yeah, we've already seen Hutchinson. He took a big play across, that crosser route that ends up going for about 30 yards. Then there's this big play touchdown. Now you're going to see Jalen Noel. So he's kind of the rookie who's coming on strong late. He's actually at the top of the screen isolated. They bring a man in motion, but watch him just cover 2. Now this is why I focused on this, because I think we're going to run cover 2. But watch him just run straight up the seam with pure speed, get between the safeties. CJ sees this ocean to throw to, and Noel just wins with speed. Easy pitch and catch, touchdown. So this is the other thing is we've seen Duggar at times struggle when he's playing deep. We're going to Chuck Clark. We've seen Chuck Clark struggle covering some deep routes. Lately, we've seen Jalen Ramsey have some struggles, but it's not really been these deep throws like this. Going to have great communication on that back end. And if there's a guy who's going to break across, and this is also why I don't want to see total zone. I'd rather see man coverage out of this, because this is what they do. When they see a zone, they're going to hit every level of the field, and that deep shot's going to be there. Their route trees are great. They do a great job of the way they design things. That's the danger. I think man-to-man coverage is the way to go in this game. I think we need to pressure CJ for sure, but I want to see JPJ locked up with Nico Collins 100% of the time. I don't give a shit what the coverage call is. He needs to be man up, because I didn't even isolate Nico Collins, because I don't think there was a reason to isolate Nico Collins in the game film. Everybody knows he's the most dangerous weapon on that team. But I isolated the other guys because they obviously can hit some big plays too.
Yeah, you look at this. I mean, Schultz is actually their leading receiver.
Outside of Nico. Oh, yes, reception-wise, yes, you're right. Yep.
And then, Higgins, they've used him so inconsistently. I don't understand why either, because I thought coming out he was a clear-cut 2. And when I saw he went to Houston, I was like, that's going to be a real problem, because the guys you need to double Nico Collins means you got to one-on-one cover Jaden Higgins. And they just haven't exploited that. But I also think it's because their offensive line has not held up like it needed to hold up.
He's come on more down the stretch too. I think they've started to find his footing down the stretch as a receiver too.
Mm-hmm.
So
and I'm really surprised Hutchinson has done as well as arguably better than Noel. Although Noel, it seemed like they had a 3 or 4 game stretch where they used him a lot, and then they were like, okay, well, fuck that. That's too good. We'll save that for the playoffs.
He disappears.
Yeah.
He's a burner. I mean, like Noel's their burner. Hutchinson, I think, because of his size, they like to utilize him because he has that size to do a little bit more than what Noel does. And honestly, Hutchinson was kind of a trade target for a lot of people when they saw that Houston drafted the 2 wide receivers in the same class. There was thought that maybe he was a guy who could be a trade target from that Houston roster. Didn't end up playing out that way, but he'd have been a nice little addition to us. And this is Peyton Wilson coverage grades that you got pulled up here. You can see there's a lot of up and down. But oddly enough, the games that he's had his best coverage grades were against the teams that had really athletic tight end profiles. So that it was kind of strange to see how this plays out.
Yeah, it's interesting.
We need the good version of Peyton Wilson in this game.
We definitely need the good version. So let's talk about some keys to victory here.
Keys to victory number one should be as simplistic gets. I think Dylan Cook and Troy Falatanu have got to find a way to hold up against Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter. I mean, like, you're gonna get some chips and some, double teams at times, I think, in this game, but you've got to find ways again to stretch out this Houston defense, which means they're going to be left on an island one-on-one with these guys a little bit through the game as well. So they have to hold up. Falatanu against Will Anderson is going to be maybe the matchup of the game. You got a first-round tackle going against the top 3 pick in the draft. Like, we need you to play like the first-round tackle. And then Dylan Cook, man, Hunter is a crafty veteran pass rusher who's still obviously very effective. I think he has like 11 sacks on the season.
Might actually be better overall. And Will Anderson is probably the more dominant player when you factor in the run and the athleticism. But pure pass rusher, Hunter might actually be better.
Yeah, he's got a great pass rush package for sure. So Cook, again, we talked about you and Myles Garrett. There's another opportunity for you to make your money. If you're going to play well against Hunter, you might get yourself a starting tackle job by the next season. So we need those two to hold up for sure.
And if he puts up a big game, I mean, we can start talking about the economics of football. As big a Broderick Jones fan as I am, and everybody knows that, bottom line is if you got an undrafted free agent who holds up in this game, then just the economics of football, you gotta play it out.
You got to pay that man too. You got to lock him up if he plays well in this one.
Well, he's an undrafted free agent. I don't think he's up for a contract for a couple of years. But I would do the same.
Next year, no, or after next year. I mean, I think next year he's on the team. Then it's after that. I think his contract's up.
Which you kind of put it in a training camp competition. Either Broderick, you decide not to pick up your 5th option, and you're just going to compete straight up with Cook for the job.
Yeah, for sure. And then you got it on the screen here. The highest paid defense has to dominate. They have to play like the highest paid defense in the NFL in this one because we need to shut down their offense. It's going to be a difficult matchup, but I think this matchup actually plays well into what we wanted to do. So we talked about in camp, Mike Tomlin talking about wanting to play more man coverage. Here's the game to do it, honestly. Mm-hmm. Joey Porter Jr. against Nico Collins, James Pierre against Higgins, and then, whoever's out there, whether it's Noel or Hutchinson, Eccles should be on them one-on-one, and then let Peyton Wilson match up against Schultz. Let Patrick Queen grab the running back out of the backfield. Their run game is not that effective. I would not be afraid of this run game. This is a game where you can match up man-to-man, and you can feel really good about matching up man-to-man. You have to line up and shut them down, make CJ hold the ball a little bit, get the pass rush him, because if we get in CJ's face and you pressure him, especially if you can do it with 4, he will start to give the ball away. If we can get pressure, I'm telling you right now, CJ Stroud might give us two balls, either through a strip sack or an interception, because I think he will throw an interception if we create pressure in this game. I do. I love CJ. He's a Buckeye. I love my Buckeyes, Bob, but I'm telling you right now, he will throw a pick in this game if we run a lot of man and we get pressure in his face.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of CJ Stroud too. I liked him coming out of the draft. He had I was a little skeptical because I'm always skeptical of Ohio State quarterbacks, but there was something about him his rookie year, his second year. He's got something to him. He stands in the pocket. He will take a hit. He's not a mobile fucking quarterback. Rex Ryan, I mean, you're stealing money at ESPN. Shut the fuck up. But he will stand there and throw the fucking ball and deliver it deep. He'll take those deep shots. There's a lot to like about his game. I think Houston Jacksonville is going to be really fun to watch for the next 10 years in the AFC South because Lawrence, with all his faults, Stroud is probably the better of the two. But overall, I think those two teams are going to fight it out for a long time in that division. And Tennessee,
yeah,
I hate to say it, but unless you get a coach in there, you might have missed on Cam Ward.
Yeah, looking like it. I had another thing. My other for offense side of the football, I think we need to not be afraid of the middle of the field. Quit acting like the middle of the field is lava and staying the fuck away from it. Like, attack the middle of the field. The linebackers are the weak spot of this defense. Tempo with quick passes, attacking the linebackers, that'll open up the run. So I think we need to, like I said, it's not going to be the first drive of the game. It's not going to be the second drive of the game, but like, get a little something going where you're not going 3 and out. Get a little bit of a drive going, even if it ends in a punt, that's okay. You have to be okay with that in this game for sure. It's going to happen. Get Pat Freiermuth behind the linebackers. Line up Kenneth Gainwell out in the slot and get him matched up on a linebacker one-on-one. If they're going to run man, let Kenny Gainwell go man. Even man against Petrie, I feel pretty good about. Petrie is a really, really nice player. I love Petrie. I agree with you too, Bob. I really like Petrie. But Kenny Gainwell's just got something about him. He's got that shifty stuff that Petrie's going to struggle with. And you can't really jam him at the line with his quickness. So attack the middle of the field between these linebackers and then get some tempo off that. That should help us open up the run if we can run tempo and wear the 2 fucking interior guys down, please, for the love of God.
And look, Arthur Smith, however we feel about him, my God, man, you have set this up all season long with these little flares and these pitches. There is gonna be if you'll take Gainwell and start to flare and have him cut back to the middle of the field on an angle route, I think he's gonna be so open. Shire might fall down. What the fuck are you doing cutting back across the middle? I also think that there's room here. The screen game is not great against the Texans, but I think there's room here to eat on the middle screen. They did this early in the season where Jalen would float out just past the line, suck him up just a little bit, run everybody deep, and leave me Jalen one-on-one with Shire. And Shire's going to win some of those. Yeah. But Jalen's going to win some of those too.
Yeah, that's a good call. I didn't even think about that play, but that helps neutralize the pass rush because an aggressive pass rush does get upfield so hard and so heavy. You can kind of slip that running back between them too. Like, he's going to stay in the block and then kind of slips out for a nice little dump off. I like that.
Yeah, I don't like the outside screen game here because Will Anderson is a beast and he can be coming off the edge and get right back out there. And we saw when you throw it out to the sideline, like on the tight end screen, there's 4 guys there.
Yep.
So that's why I think you cannot go wide, like you pointed out. You cannot go wide against them, at least early. Maybe if you start yashing them in the middle, then maybe that opens up.
Yeah. Like I said, Kamari Lassiter and Derek Stingley are both good tacklers, especially Lassiter. They will come up and hit too, and the defense just flows to the ball so well on these long stretched out plays. So I would avoid those completely. Even running the ball, I would not run a ball outside of the tackle box at all. I wouldn't even try it because it's just not going to work.
They're going to run that pitch though.
Fuck that pitch, dude. Don't do that pitch. It's going to go for a 5-yard loss. We run that pitch play.
Yeah. All right. So you didn't put a wild prediction on the sheet.
I got it now though. I got it now.
Okay. I've got one in the chamber. Go ahead.
All right. My bold prediction, and this is a very bold prediction in my opinion. Jalen Warren becomes the first 100-yard rusher the Texans have allowed all season. As I mentioned earlier, this team has only allowed a full team to go over 100 yards 6 times, but they have not allowed an individual rusher to go over 100 yards. I think we do enough to get this defense worn down in this game. And I think Jalen Warren ends up going off in the second half. I think a lot of it's going to come in the second half, not the first half.
I love it. I'm going to go to the other side of the ball. Said this on Friday night. I'm going to reiterate it here. I think we win 22-10, and I think we're going to get a safety. There will be a big special teams play to pin them down within the 5-yard line, and I think TJ or Herbig gets home and gets Stroud in the end zone. I also think the defense will maybe not score, but they will have a key score. I think the defense finds 9 points in this game, and that's the difference in the game.
I like it. I don't think I'm changing my prediction. I'll be honest with you. As scared as I've gone through so much of this Texans tape with the defense, there's a couple of factors that I came as far as a conclusion to my score. So I had them at, if you didn't see our show Friday, I had them at 24-14 Pittsburgh winning, and everybody's probably like, what the fuck? The Texans haven't. I mean, they're averaging like 17 point something given up a game. How are we going to get 24 when our offense isn't that good? Couple of factors. Number one, and most importantly, we're at home. Mike Tomlin will be more aggressive at home than he will on the road. This is a playoff scenario. The narrative has been in place. Tomlin cannot win a playoff game. We haven't done it in forever. 9 years, right? Mm-hmm. I think he will be more aggressive. Because number two, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. This is not Russell Wilson. This is not Kenny Pickett. This is not Mason Rudolph. This is Aaron fucking Rodgers. This is a guy who's had a shit ton of success in the postseason, and he has played well down the stretch. He carried us through that Baltimore game, even after the slow start. This is a difference maker at quarterback. This is why you brought him here. And I mentioned this Friday. Our team is going to be the team that has desperation. So many of these guys, this could be their last chance. Aaron, if he loses this game, we don't even know. He could be done. The Monday night record, Bob, you pointed this out Friday. The Monday night record for Pittsburgh is ridiculous. Cam Hayward, this could be his last chance at a winner. TJ, Jalen Ramsey, how many of these guys are older guys? This could be their last shot at a winner. I know Somber brought up Isaac Sayamalo on the Friday show. This is a very young Texans team, and they're going to be foolish enough to think, hey, I got plenty of chances to get back here, right? We're not. Right. Well, this is it. This is it. It could be Tomlin's last game in Pittsburgh if this goes really badly. There's a lot on the line here for us, and I think being at home in the friendly confines of Acrisure Stadium, we're going to play more aggressive.
And we have to. If we come out aggressive and, barring Zach Frazier snapping the ball over Aaron Rodgers' head on the first play of the game, this is the best I felt about him. I mean, honestly, maybe since the Tebow game, where I think that's the last time I honestly felt like we're a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Are we going to the Super Bowl? Probably not. Am I going to be disappointed if we lose this game? Yeah, a lot will depend on how we lose it. If we do lose it, I don't think we are. I think there's just, and I've been saying it all year, there's just something different about these guys. And there's been a lot of pundits who said, as the Steelers have struggled defensively throughout the season, this is an old defense that could get hot at the right time.
Yeah.
And let's face it, if TJ gets on one and becomes unblockable TJ, which is possible, all of a sudden you got unblockable TJ. Alex is playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
And now you're bringing Nick Herbig in. I mean, this pass rush could go bonkers in the playoffs. And there's no offensive line in the AFC that I'm scared of. I'm not scared. If they get hot, they can beat anybody as far as the defense. But the defense has got to fucking play. I mean, there can't be a debacle here where we give up some wild play. Don't get crazy. If they hit Collins down the field, look, they're going to score some points. If they hit Collins for a big play, they hit Jaden Higgins for a big play, fine. No problem. Let it be a big play.
Yep.
As long as it's not they hold the ball 8 minutes at a time, they score. We saw it last night. Did anybody think Chicago was fucking coming back? Did anybody think Chicago was coming back?
I thought it was over.
I mean, Carolina was down 14-0. And frankly, if their guy holds onto the ball, are we sure they don't win that game? Because I think they're I think the Rams were a pucker factor right there.
Yeah, I agree. I think the biggest thing is, you've got Cam Hayward's playing his best football. Alex is definitely playing his best football, probably his best football of his career. And that's including the year he had, a really nice double-digit sack year. He had, 14 that one year?
Yeah.
Nick Herbig, this 3 outside linebacker package, when they bring him in and rush him up the middle, that thing is fucking lethal. You've got Benton. Benton is playing his best football right now. He had a great game against the Baltimore Ravens, and Tyler Lindenbaum is a fucking much better center than what they've got down here in Houston. I'm sorry. He just is. That's a great matchup for us. Derek Harmon is starting to come along. He's not got the pass rush down yet, but teams have not been able to run the ball when we've got all 3 of those guys across that defensive line either. Cam, Benton, and Harmon all playing together. Teams can't run the ball, and this is already a team that can't run the ball. You force this Texans team to become one-dimensional, and I agree with you. I think the turnovers are going to put us in spots where we can score as an offense, and that's why I feel comfortable about saying, hey, we can score 24 on the Texans. It has nothing to do with putting up 24 points against the Texans defense. It's got everything to do with getting the ball in the right positions on the field where we can not have to drive 75 yards to score these touchdowns against this defense. We get a turnover, we're on our own 40 going in to score these points. That's where I think the game's going to be won, because we have such an advantage from our defensive line against their offensive line. That's the big thing, and that's why I'm saying, if you can keep 2 deep safeties back, but man across the front, you give plenty of time for those guys to get home. And I'm sorry, but I love CJ, but when he's got pressure constantly in his face, the games where they were giving up the big touchdowns, every team I saw is trying to run blitz after blitz after blitz, and CJ is just picking it apart because he's getting rid of it quick because there's an ocean behind him. These receivers are too good to leave in zone coverages. Go man up, get pressure with your 4, because our 4 will win against this offensive line, and that's it. That's the game.
If there's any team that's dangerous if they go max protect, it's Houston.
Yeah,
because you got Collins, Higgins, and Schultz. Those guys can all if you send 6, those guys can all win. One of those guys is going to be one-on-one, and they are going to win.
Yep, for sure. They are a good group, absolutely.
Yeah, but that being said, like you said, if they do go max protect and you got 2 safeties over the top, and we only ran 4 or 5 at that time, then hey, you can stand back there all day if you want, CJ. But we got Collins and Higgins double teamed and Peyton Wilson running around with Dalton Schultz.
Yeah. Eventually, you got to throw it somewhere, and there's not a lot of windows if you're in max protect on 3-man routes.
I also think with Jalen Ramsey, he didn't have a great game against Baltimore. We saw it. There was one where I don't blame him for the first one. I think he got sucked up looking to make a play on what he thought was going to be a short pass. But the other 2, Patrick Queen on Flowers. Let's hope they don't have that drawn up for this game. But he generally doesn't play 2 bad games in a row.
No.
I don't get caught looking in the backfield on this one, man. Don't get caught looking on the backfield. And that being said, I do think you're going to have opportunities like we were talking about. If Wilson's carrying Schultz up the field and Stroud stares him down, I think that's where Jalen can have an impact.
Yeah. If Woody Marks has 80 yards on the ground in this game because we're making sure that their pass game doesn't get moving, great. Great. Who cares? Woody Marks, if he's their most effective player in this game, then the Houston offense has failed tremendously. Yeah. Because that's not what they want. They do not want the run game to take over. They want the pass game to drive this thing. They want the big plays. They want to get out in front and allow their great defense to tee off on the back end of that, right? They want to jump out to a lead and allow the defensive pass rush to just go fucking eat. As long as we avoid giving up those big plays, we could be the team that ends up jumping out in front where you get in a 3-3 battle where, their defense doesn't get to tee off anymore on the offense. And that changes momentum for their games quite frequently.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Do I wish it was Sunday afternoon? Yeah, I kind of do. But at the same time, the NFL has done us as big a favor as they can do us. We're at home. It's Monday night. I I mean, I feel like they're saying to the rest of the NFL, look, if Tomlin can't win this one, maybe the fans are right. They should get rid of the best.
Yeah, sounds that way.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it's perfect justification. But that being said, hey, guys in chat, you've been awesome. I can't wait for tomorrow night. Big games this afternoon. We got the head-to-head Smooth Jimmy battle between me and Dave on the Jags-Bills game. I know
that's me and you. No, that's me and you.
Oh, me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was Dave who did it too.
The double smooth Jimmy.
Yeah, double smooth Jimmy. One of us is going to win for sure. There's a lot. I mean, I think the Jags are just chomping at the bit. I think they have heard everybody say Josh Allen, going, hey, we beat the shit out of Denver and Denver, right? We beat the shit out of the Chargers. We beat the shit out of everybody we've played pretty much. And they played well against really good teams. Buffalo's defense scares me. I think Josh Allen will probably have a great game, but I think it'll be all for naught. I really love the Jags going away in this one.
Well, the Jags are. I mean, they're a relatively young team. I mean, a lot of their guys, their key pieces, are pretty young guys. I mean, Jacoby Myers, I know he's 29. He's come along.
They've really been a lot better.
Since that trade, that offense has kind of taken off, and he's helped out Trevor Lawrence, I think, more than Trevor Lawrence is helping him out, even though he comes from the Raiders situation. But he was successful for the Raiders. So I think that he's really helped out Trevor Lawrence in that offense. We're going to find a lot about this Jags team. This could be, if they pull this thing off and they go on a little bit of a run in the playoff, this could be a team that's going to be a force for a little while. Yeah,
well, and not only that, I mean, it could really fall nicely for them. Don't think everybody in Jacksonville doesn't remember that the Jags got ripped off in Foxborough when they thought they had a Super Bowl team with Bortles, when they beat us. And then they legit, there was an iffy pick six that got called back for Brady, and they still talk about it in this town that they got ripped off. So they get the Patriots in Foxborough. I don't know. I think that's where the Patriots come crashing back to earth.
So just like we have the Jesse James catch, they have the interception call back.
Oh, it's even worse, yeah. Because let's face it, Jesse James was for the number 1 seed, and sure we remember it.
But that was a playoff game.
How different does Miles Jack's career look if that play stands?
Who knows? He was a good player for them. I mean, he played really, really well for them for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, he was injured coming out. He had 3 or 4 really good years. Played okay for us the 1 year. He's a real what-if guy. I think injuries really derailed his career. I think he could have been something very special if he'd stayed healthy.
Yeah. Is Magic giving us a prediction here? Are you saying Boz is going to win us a game?
Well, Vaughn said Boz is going to win us the game.
I saw that. So Vaughn's got his out there. I'm just curious if Magic's putting this out there as his prediction too.
It wouldn't be, and I love the fact that the NFL, Boswell didn't react like it was blocked. The bottom line is the guy got his hand on the ball. So,
it was hard to see. I'm still not 100% sold it was blocked, but they marked it as a block. So somebody saw something, obviously.
The guy who blocked it was sure celebrating.
Yeah. No, and what Magic is not putting that out there.
Don't trust Boz. Man, Boz is he's as consistent. And hey, don't forget earlier in that game, he crushed a 54-yarder.
Yeah, 57. Wasn't it 57?
I thought it was
57, 54, whatever. Either way, it was a bomb. He was on the logo.
Yeah, I absolutely trust him. And look, there's 2 really good kickers in this game. If it comes down to a field goal, there ain't going to be no shank off to the right for either one of these guys.
Nobody's accurate above 60. That's why the long is like 65. Was it 65, 66 now? What would that kid hit? 67?
Yeah, well, the Jacksonville kid hit 70 in preseason.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. He's a freaking monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, 57. Okay, I thought it was 57.
Yeah, 57 barely. No, that thing would have been good from 65. He crushed it.
I know Boz had that missed extra point or that was tipped. I know he missed a couple others before that, 2 games before that. But man, Boz has been as consistent as you can get outside of the year he had the groin injury. One dude is hitting 70 now. Not dudes. One dude. And
Look,
he's a freaking nature.
And Boz has hit 60-yarders. He's hit 61. I think he hit 61 a couple of times. But bottom line is I don't think Tomlin, number one, it's Acrisure at night. It's going to be cold.
You ain't hitting a 60-yarder anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be you couldn't make a kick over 45 there. Boz is what changed that. Now, I think 55, 57, look, if there's a 59-yarder to win it, I mean, he's trotting Boz out there for sure. But I don't think the only time you really try anything over 60, in my opinion, is, hey, there's 5 seconds to go in the half. Just fucking try it. See what happens.
Yeah, and when it's colder out, that ball, I mean, the air, it just doesn't fly the same way. I mean, it just doesn't fly through cold weather the same way as it's going to do on a 60-degree day. So, I mean, I don't think either kicker is looking forward to a 60-yard plus field goal in this game if it's 35, or feels like whatever. I know Corb told us, feel like this is 32 or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to fly through the air the same way. It's just the way it goes.
Now, we'll say this. It's been raining all morning in Jacksonville. I'm hoping it clears up this afternoon because I think it actually hurts the Jags if it's a little bit of a weather game here. Although it's not windy, but it's been raining all morning. So
Cook is the best back in this game. Etienne's been a nice player, but there's no doubt James Cook is probably top 2, 3 in the NFL right now this year, the way he's been playing as a running back.
Jags have not given up a 100-yard rusher either.
It's going to be an interesting matchup between those two. I think it's going to be a great game, honestly. I'm excited for that one. I'm really happy that's the opening slot game.
Sneaky good game of the weekend, I think, followed by what I think will be the worst game of the weekend, the Eagles and 49ers.
Yeah, that one, I don't know. I know you're not high on the Eagles offense. I just think they've kind of found something that started clicking down the stretch a little bit, not necessarily points wise, but they've found ways to move the ball down the field and kind of give their defense a little bit of a rest, and the defense is starting to play better. So we'll see.
They could absolutely put up 21 points. I mean, they haven't covered 6 all year. I just don't. I just don't. I think they're going to win the game. I think it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be 10-7, 9-6, 13-10. And they may even move the ball a little bit. I just think that it's their offense will get bogged down a little bit. They kick field goals, and they've shown in big games that, although I do think you're right, they discovered that, excuse me, A.J. Brown does play for the team. If you throw him the ball, good things might happen.
Absolutely.
But he's going to look good in black and gold in the offseason. I can get on board with Dave's thing. They were never trading him during the season, but
I didn't think so either.
Yeah, in the offseason,
maybe happening. Slight programming note for anybody still watching: we are going to have a halftime show on Monday and a post-game show as well.
Yeah, Mr. Korab is going to be at the stadium. We're going to get a live report. Hopefully, it will not be a dismal down stadium. Hopefully we'll be the crowd will be pumped up and fired up, and and just one thing, please God, Mike Tomlin, if you win the toss, defer.
Thank you.
Do not take the ball. Now, if you lose the toss and we got to take the ball, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Do not fucking do that. You got Aaron Rodgers, who is a master of the halftime wraparound scores.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. We got anything else?
I think we're good. We covered it all. This one, we covered about as much as we're going to cover before this game.
All right. And we're going to be optimistic that we'll be doing another War Room next weekend. But this time we'll cut up the film a little bit better. We now found out that 17, 18 minutes of film doesn't play well with StreamYard. So we'll cut it up into small packages.
Yes.
All right. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow night at halftime.
Oh, there's the money shot, baby.